Hey, James Robert Elliott here with my good friend Christine Campbell Rapin. And we're going to be talking today about the complexity you're choosing to buy into your business is the problem and the limiting factor. So welcome, Christine.
Thank you. Super excited to be here. Business is elegantly simple. Boy, are you making it complicated.
Right on. Now, were you talking to me or everyone or both?
I don't know if you heard it, you needed to hear it. So I'm going to just leave that one with a 10-foot pole.
Right on. So this is amazing. Give us your 35,000 foot view of who you are, how you help, and how you help them, please.
Yeah, seriously, I am a strategic mentor, business advisor. I sit shotgun on your business dream to help you figure out where your next client is coming from so that you stop getting up at 3 o'clock in the morning going, holy crap, that deal is disappearing on me. Now what? And I have helped more than 400 businesses, everything from solopreneurs, freelancers, mom and pop shops to some of the biggest companies on the planet, build revenue. And a lot of it, like $1 billion plus size of revenue. And I would tell you, every dollar is equal. And most people really lack the foundations of business. And it occurred to me as more and more people bought me coffee to say, well, how in the hell are you finding clients working 1 hour a day? And I'm like, there's a lot of clients to be had. They're not finding you. It's time to maybe look at what you're doing, how you're positioning yourself, and what you are doing or not doing,
Sure.
and take a course correction.
I love that. So then, you and I just talked about me narrowing my niche, and the riches are in the niches, the riches are the niches, or whatever you call it.
Yeah.
But so tell us, what are some of these big mistakes and complexities that people are making?
Well, the first thing is you're doing way too many things. Let me dial it down for you. Two things predict your revenue in the next 90 days. Just two. The first is you've got to understand that you're looking for buyers and not just people. Your businesses will be built on strangers, but not all strangers are equal in terms of completing and reaching your business goals. That's the first piece of the puzzle.
Love that.
Second piece of the puzzle is money only moves hands when you make offers. You are not making enough offers. You don't understand what an offer really is. And if you don't address that, you're really busy on a million things and running your business in a task list mentality. Like, I'll write that email, I'll update my webpage, I'll go post on social media. All of that is distraction. Two things predict your revenue: buyers and offers. And we can talk in detail about what each of those are if you want, but truthfully, everything else is the problem that you're working on. And most people, when I say, how many offers did you make last month? They're like, lots. I'm like, tell me the names, tell me the offers, tell me the decisions. And I get this like, boink, boink. Oh my God. I'm like, is the answer zero? No, but the answer might be one or two. I said, you cannot build a business on one or two offers a month.
I love that. And so what I'm hearing is everything's a distraction other than talking to people and talking to people.
And finding the people that's a buyer. Like, and
Yeah,
this is the piece of the puzzle most people miss because they think their current customer or their past customer is a good representation of the next customer.
yeah.
And you're wrong because the
Thank you.
decision is different between a current decided person and a person who's exploring. They're totally different triggers, totally different circumstances, totally different emotions. And that's half the problem. You're talking to a converted audience, which is not going to buy. And that's why when you make an offer, nothing happens. And so we got to dial you into a different time and space.
I love that. And it's interesting how some some gurus or business coaches or whatever say, oh, let's look at who your past customers were, and then we'll use that to bring down and create a niche and a target. And well, what if you don't want to work with those people anymore? What if it doesn't light you up?
100%.
Like you just said. And so I'm like I was always fighting them on. I'm like, okay, am I wrong? Or but I want to go over here now. This is who really lights me up. That's who I was working with. This is who lights me up. So I love that you said that. Sometimes it's, I think, bad advice when a mentor says, "Well, who are your past customers? Let's look at those. Maybe who are your favorite past customers or the best past ones? Do you still want to work with them? Cool, then let's." But I think this is great. Talk to us about offer and getting in front of people. So talking to people and making offers, making presentations, whatever people call it, because I didn't know what an offer was at first. What's an offer? Oh, well, okay, you mean like a pitch? Okay, cool. I'm doing that. I'm giving them my message, and this is what I do. I'm making a presentation. But what are some of the big mistakes people make with pitches? Is it not niching? Is it not asking for the pitching, but not asking for the sale? What are some of the big ones?
Well, let's just be clear with what a buyer is, because most of the time I'm telling you, you're in the wrong room and you're not talking to buyers. Like, let's take the elephant out and put it
Fair
right in the
enough.
middle of the room. Um, I will tell you that buyers are decision makers. Okay, so if you're in an educating role, you are not talking to a buyer
Hmm.
because they're not ready to decide anything.
Hmm.
Buyers have three attributes, and you've got to spot all three before you make an offer if you ever expect to get to yes. So half the time you're out of sequence and half the time you're premature. The buyers have three things. Number one, I know I have a problem. So if you're trying to convince me about a problem I don't know I have, you're going to be talking for a very long time. And
Yes.
chances are you'll go broke in that runway. And that's
Yeah.
where a lot of businesses get
Right.
stalled.
Because you're twisting someone's arm. Oh, you need this thing. You need this thing. Well, why don't we preach the converted?
100%. Go where the money's already thinking, not creating it. You'll have a faster path to cash. That's the first piece of the puzzle. Second piece of the puzzle is because I know I have a problem, I am already trying to solve it, and I have a gap. I may have Googled it. I may have Pinterested it. I may have gone to Facebook, my Aunt Sally. I may have read a book, listened to a podcast. I've done a lot of the research.
Tested.
And truthfully, I'm still short of my own desired outcome. And I recognize that. Like if I had what I wanted, I'm not a buyer. If I feel like I want more and I need it in a different way, in a different shape or form, then likely I have curiosity on my side. I'm curious about what other things could I do to get a better outcome or closer to my desired outcome. So you need to recognize, I know I have a problem and I'm curious. So as a business, my job is to recognize my number one goal is to spark that curiosity, because somebody will go, I am interested, and get them moving, or I'm not in the right room, in which case you're not wasting time with tire kickers.
Fair.
Okay, that's really important, because you don't need to work 24/7. You need the right people to be in the right room, and you need to recognize what sparks their curiosity. The third thing that a buyer has is a commitment to action. And let's just also be clear that action may not be linear, because I'm human and I'm a hot mess. I'll go forward one week. I'll go backwards that week. I might go sideways the week after, I might go round. But you've got to track me, because I still want it. But I'm going to be human and I'm going to have hiccups and I'm going to follow a sequence. And ghosting doesn't reflect that I don't want it still. It just recognizes a lower priority. So I will tell you, if you're talking to people and they are not decision makers, and they're not aware they have a problem, and they're not curious about what you do, and they're not committed, you are talking to the wrong person. And
I love that.
you can build a business on the hope of someday, but I really hope you have deep pockets to start.
Okay, and a lot of time.
And time.
I don't want a life.
And so I always say to people, the first thing is, do you know if you're talking to a buyer? And sometimes when I say that, people are like, it totally makes sense. But it's like the needle in the haystack. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. It is the needle in the haystack, but you're only talking to buyers. That's the only goal. And the good news, before you decide to, throw it all away and go, I did this hard, there's 3% of people that are buyers today. Here's the hopeful bit. There's another new 3% tomorrow. There's another 3% the day after. And if you compound 3%, you stay in your business long enough, you have a lot of buyers.
True.
Stay in the game. But get intentional about looking for those three things. And when you observe them, you have a choice to make. You get to put up camp, put up signposts, and make some invitations. And the second component to that, which we talked about, is get in the right room and talk to a buyer. And don't mistake a someday buyer for a today buyer. Your actions are very different in what you do and how you respond and where you lead. But the second piece is an offer. An offer is an explicit, permission-based invitation to move. It could be, yes, would you like me to tell you the investment of my program? That's true. That's a very clean offer. But it could be just an invitation to move. Like, you're curious about a problem. I have a possibility. Are you interested in looking at this possibility? That's an offer. Okay, well, now I'm going to stand for what my belief is. And I'll say, this is how you grow a business. And you're like, okay, I'm interested. And you're like, so if you're curious, do you want to take the next step? And they take the next step. Offers are permission-based invitations to move. And if you can build movement in your business, by nature, you will create momentum. So I say to people, what's your roadmap? On average, people take 7 to 12 touch points to move before they're saying, tell me about the offer, like the actual program investment. So have you got a plan to move somebody through here? Guys, if not, go back to my number one thing. Everything else you're doing is distraction. Conversation's the fastest path to this, not a complicated sales funnel or hiring and paying for ads and doing all those things until you're really good that you know who the buyer is, how you'll move them, and what makes you the must hire. And guys, once you get this, boy, does it get fun. And if you don't have it on day one, welcome to the party. None of us had that on day one, but we did get focused on being business owners and getting those foundations in place, because without them, it is always scary. It is always unpredictable, and it is always the roller coaster because you're creating it. And I'm going to just plant a possibility here and invite you to consider. Might not be the only way.
I love that. Give it those three real quick again. Boom, boom, boom.
They've got to, number one, know they have a problem.
Okay.
Number two, they've got to be curious about an alternate solution than the one they're running now. And three, they have to be committed to some level of action to move towards a better outcome. Because if it's not a priority and it's not a commitment, your job is not to drag somebody. It's exhausting and it hardly ever works.
And you got to drag them out and you drag them in too. You got to drag them in, you drag them around, as my friend says.
That's right. He said, you can support somebody. Say, I will hold your vision, but I'm not the one doing the work. And I have to have empathy and compassion and knowing that you're human and you're going to run not a straight line. Yep, but I equip my business programs to account for that. And therefore, people in my programs stay and get results. I want that for your business too.
I love that. And the other thing I heard you say is you want people who know they have a problem, who know they need to solve it and want to solve it, and know that you are different, you are better, you are unique as well. That was something I heard you say as well.
Yeah, and it's important. Here's a distinction I always say. This is a good question to ask yourself, and it might be uncomfortable, so buckle up, Buttercup.
Love it.
Are you a likable expert, or are you seen as the must hire? People who get caught in the education space are likable experts. Just be aware in this world, knowledge is so freely available. It's very hard to get paid on knowledge alone.
True.
So you can say, hey, I'm everyone's a fan. That's awesome sauce. But if you're not getting paid, you have a problem in your business. You don't have a business. You have a hobby where you educate. And I'm not saying don't educate at all. But I'm saying the bigger thing is that we actually don't need the how. I mean, how is the easiest question to solve? You've got 25 billion social platforms and 8 billion people who will give you an opinion.
Yeah.
The how is pretty easily solved. If you're not solving it, you're lazy. Boom, you're lazy because you can solve the how. The bigger thing people seek is how do I take the knowledge and apply it? Mm-hmm. And when I am looking for a way to move from my gap, I'm not quite at the potential of what I want. My issue is not knowledge. It's like, who do I need to be? Yeah. Who can help me on this journey? And I need to be sure that the person, this business who's maybe making the offer, is a safe bet, is a trustworthy bet. I feel like I could be human with them. And that, you, my friends, you have to intentionally curate. You have to curate that experience for strangers. And you can do it and accelerate it in many ways. But at the end of the day, people do business with people. And I say one thing, you have to have certainty that you can deliver the result.
Otherwise, they're going to feel it through transference, psychological. It's proven fact. So if you give that vibe off that you're not certain, because you're right, people want you to be certain that you can help them. I love that. We're actually running out of time. So tell us how people can reach you, because this is gold. And I suggest everyone go listen to your podcast as well.
Yes, we'd love to have you come find us. So this is, again, elegant simplicity. Pay attention. There's clues in how we do this. My name is Christine Campbell Rapin. You will find me at ChristineCampbellRapin.com. Come connect to me and choose your own adventure. Yes, I have a great podcast that will help you find your next client predictably. James is going to come be a guest on it, so make sure you come find our episode. It's called Amplify Your Marketing Message. I want you to find your next client predictably. I don't want that to be theoretical, not just one client, one of many. But come do it. Let's chat.
Right on. Beautiful. Thank you, my friend. Thank you for being here.
100%.
Amazing.